Hello and welcome to a cursed recording on the Bearfoot Miniatures channel. Me and Phil played a game of the old world about 3 weeks ago with his dwarfs facing off against my chaos. Now, there was a couple of minor mistakes made in the game, but then actually the main cursing of this recording is at the end, the last two turns, there was something corrupted with the audio. So what we'll be doing is I'll be flagging up the errors that were made in the game and also then doing an audio over the actual game that was played and explaining the turns rather than actually having the audio of the game. Now, that might actually turn out to be something that you enjoy. If you do enjoy like a commentary over a game, me and other Phil actually have been thinking about doing that as a type of game. So if you enjoy like sort of a breakdown audio commentary of a game, let us know and I will be doing that sort of stuff based on comments whether people like it versus the actual in-game audio. And hopefully you can enjoy the game anyway. If we were playing the Watchtower type of game where you've got to hold the central objective Watchtower, and largely I see meeting engagement type games where you just try and kill each other, so I did want to try and get this game onto the channel, especially with it being quite an enjoyable game to play. Hello and welcome to another battle report on the Bearfoot Miniatures channel. I'm joined today by Phil.
Hi.
And we're going to be playing The Lonely Tower. So today we're going to be playing 1750 of The Lonely Tower, which is a central objective in the middle of the battlefield. That's going to be an actual tower, so that itself is worth 100 victory points as a special feature, and then the mission gives us 200 points for being in control of it. So that's within 6 or actually occupying the building. You brought dwarfs today, Phil.
I have.
Do you want to go over your army list first?
Yep, I can do. So my general is a king.
Yes.
He's on shield bearers, he's got a great weapon, and he's got 2 runes of shielding, which gives him a 5 up ward save.
Right, okay. So he'll be on like a 2 up armor save from the shield bearers. And then a 5. Is it 2 up?
I don't think he gets a benefit from that, does he? I've got a Thane who is a battle standard bearer. He's got a great weapon, comes stock with full plate armor, and he's got a rune of fury on his great weapon, so he's got 4 great weapon attacks. No runic banner, just.
Okay. Oh, so you're not taking the rune of, I'm going to call it spite, but is the rune of no charge bonuses for you?
The rune of no charge bonuses for you. Well, no, we'll come to that.
Not yet. Maybe in the second dwarf battle report with Phil.
I've got 2 runesmiths who are both identical, so great weapon, full plate, shield. No runic.
No addition. They're just providing that armor bane for the units that they're in.
Exactly. So I've then got, in my corps, I've got 18 longbeards who are caught because of the king being the general. They've got great weapons, shields, heavy armor, drilled.
Yeah. Full command, I imagine.
Full command, and they have the rune of confusion on the banner, which is the one that removes your weapon bonuses on the charge.
Right. Okay.
I've then got 11 Thunderers with shields and heavy armour, which they come stock with, no command. 10 Quarrelers, no command, but they've got great weapons.
Yes, because they are almost as good as dwarf warriors.
Exactly.
On foot.
Exactly. I've then got 17 Ironbreakers, full command, drilled. That's it. No runic items. A gyrocopter with a steam gun, just the one gyrocopter. 2 bolt throwers, again just stock, no upgrades at all. And 10 miners with a champion, no other upgrades for them. And then I've got a flame cannon as my rare choice, because every time I play a new version of Warhammer, I need to get the flame cannon out and realise it's bad, and then put it away again, because I love the flame cannon. So we'll see. Hopefully it'll do something, but it's obviously not got the panic rule which it had in 6th, so we'll see.
We'll see. It might not be the best showing for the flame cannon in that I've got no units, as you'll see, that really are ranked up. I've got some Centaur, but other than that, it'll be very limited on the amount of, like, whereas versus goblins, or even Chaos Marauders, if I had Chaos Marauders, it might be able to just, like, flame an entire unit.
Yeah, exactly.
So, facing off against that, I've got my Chaos Warriors. My Warriors are led by the Chaos Lord Jebe, who has got Crown of Everlasting Conquest for a 5-up regen, in addition to his 5-up ward from being just in Chaos Armour.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Favour of the Gods, so when I become stupid from Gaze of the Gods, he's going to re-roll that. He's got a Flail, Shield, and Demonic Mount. Now, his Demonic Mount gives him +1 wound, as well as movement 8, so he won't slow down any Marauder Horseman that he's actually in.
Yeah.
He's got 2 attacks at Strength 5, as well as 1 Stomp attack for that Demonic Mount, as well as having like Swift Stride and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's fairly good. I've got a Sorcerer Lord who has got Favour of the Gods, as well as Lore Familiar. The Favour of the Gods is to allow me to make the reroll to the Gaze of the Gods.
No stupid sorcerers and stupid...
No, and when I do roll that one, they'll never roll on Gaze of the Gods again, because I'm not chancing...
Oh, so it's a one use item.
It's a
right,
one use.
Okay.
So my Sorcerer with the Lore Familiar has picked the Summoning, which is a magic missile. So he's 18-inch range, 2d6 strength 4 at AP -2.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the Gathering Darkness, which is 12-inch range, -2 to leadership.
Right.
So that's really good, especially against dwarfs. Against anyone, just -2 leadership is incredible. I've got Steed of Shadows, which is 15-inch range, target a unit, and it gives them fly 12. So I'll be able to zoom about. And I know I've got horses anyway, but
Fly's still good.
Fly's really good, yeah. And finally, I've got Demonic Vigor, which is 15-inch range, +1 movement, toughness, and initiative to a unit.
So all excellent.
Yeah. And it's why the Lore Familiar, it's a common magic item, is just incredibly good to pick, so I don't waste a Sorcerer Lord by not getting the spells that I want.
Yeah.
Next, I've got 4 units of identical Marauder Horsemen. They've all got Musicians, Horse Masters, which, as well as the 2 attacks, comes with an additional leadership, so the leadership 7.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Flails, Javelins, and Shields. I've next got 4 Chaos Knights that have just got Lances and a Champion. They're not chosen, so they're not drilling or like.
Oh right, okay.
They're not
you can't
2
purchase
attacks.
that for the normal Chaos Knights.
No, and I needed the additional core to make up to like the limit of the army. I've then got a Chaos Spawn that's just completely stock standard, and next I've got an allied detachment and mercenaries. So my mercenaries is made up of Tomoga Mournfang Cavalry, who have got a standard bearer, heavy armour, and great weapons, as well as a champion.
Yep.
So they're going to have 7 attacks between the unit with great weapons on the charge,
At
as well as the
6,
Mournfang.
right?
Yeah, strength 6. I've also in that mercenary detachment, and these aren't misbehaving mercenaries because I've already rolled the dice, I've got 5 Harpies from the Beastmen section. Now, I couldn't include them in my allied detachment that I've got because I was going over that 25% points limit. Since time of recording this game, I've realised that you actually need the mercenaries rule, or must have some mercenaries rule that's coming in the future, to be used as mercenaries. So you can't actually do the detachment. So victory to fill at list building stage. However, because this is quite a fun game to go through and had a couple of twists and turns, I thought it'd be worth posting it up anyway, and hopefully everyone can enjoy it going forwards. So in that 25%, I've got Toothhoof the Warhoof, who is a Centaur champion, who's got teeth in his feet. He's got a Cavalry Spear, heavy armour, and a shield, as well as being strength 5 base, so the stomp attack that he's got will come at strength 5.
Yeah.
I've got 5 Gores who have been deployed on the table, and they might do something this game, but they're just there. They're the only not mounted models in my army, or not fast models. They're there just to unlock the Beastman detachment. I've got 2 units of 5 Warhounds, and with Armoured Hide, Poison Attacks, and Vanguard, it gets me up to that 25% core, and only needing to take the 5 Gore.
Yeah.
So they're about to do their Vanguard move. And then I've got 9 Centaurs, and that's where Toothhoof the Warhoof is going to be. And they've got full command, throwing spears, so they will be attacking in 2 ranks on the charge.
Yeah.
And that's it from there. So those are the entire armies. if you like watching this game, don't forget to do all the YouTubey stuff, and that will let me know that you want to see more the old world content, and Phil know that you want to see him on the channel again.
And why
It'll
would
make him happy.
It would.
Yeah.
It would.
If you really like it, there is a Patreon link below where you can get yourself dice, access to the Discord, ad-free videos, as well as podcast versions of all the Tuesday videos that are basically the army guides for the old world at the moment. And with that, we'll get into the game. So, we'll get into the roll for first turn. Phil finished deploying first because you only had 8 drops, and I had all of this. So yeah, let's roll. I'm going to go first.
Are you?
Because that would be the sensible choice.
It certainly would.
So in the start of turn command phase, I'm going to cast from my sorcerer here, Demonic Vigor, and I'm going to cast that on Jebe's unit because I like being really fast. Yeah, I'm going to do that. 5, 6. That gives me a total of 10, which goes off because it was a 9+ to cast. So, do you want to Fated Dispel that one, or do you want to wait for something else? No. Okay, so they're +1 movement, which is good for Max. Fire! Into the movement phase, I'm going to immediately, with my Sorceress, cast Steed of Shadows on my Beastman unit. Oh no, I can't because they're an allied detachment. Losers! I'm going to cast it on my horsemen that are right next to the sorcerer. 8. So an 8 is 1 less than I actually needed. So they don't get it. And that's into actual movement without doing wizardly rubbish magic stuff that the dwarfs hate. So I'm going to start over this side, and I'm going to go 12, 16, up with my Marauder Cav, and just really bear down on that bolt thrower. My dogs are going to move 12, 14, and just hopefully get in the way of some thunderous shooting. My dogs on the other side are going to go, they're going to do a 2-inch wheel. They're going to go 8 forwards, which gets them to here. So that's a total of 10, and then I can wheel back 4. And so I'll be more square onto the dwarfs. Next, Jebe's unit, they've got a movement of 9 because of Demonic Vigor, so they're going to go a total of 18. And actually, I think they're going to get speed bumped by the dogs in the end. So they're going to go 12 to here. Yeah, and they're just going to hit the rear of the dogs and just use them as a bit of cover. Well, I will have an extra toughness to them, which is going to be very nice against that flame cannon because it'll wound me on 3s rather than 2s, which is pretty big. My unit of horsemen at the back are going to... Do you know what? I need to probably do something over here because if Phil just turns around and shoots them, I've got nothing backing up. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to rely on my units dying a bit more because that's going to happen. I'm just going to move up so that Jebe can join that unit when his unit inevitably dies. My harpies are going to fly their 20 inches. So the harpies have deposited themselves just on the other side of these buildings and will be able to charge those quarrelers if Phil feels like he can beat me in combat, which I'm fairly sure he can. That came out entirely wrong. So they will be able to charge those quarrelers if I feel like I can beat them in combat, which I'm not sure I can. My Mournfang Cav, there's a bit of a roadblock going on over here. So they're going to wheel round 4. That gets them to here. I suppose they're not going forwards. They're going to go 3 inches to there. And then they've got an 11 left. So I'm going to get to
9, and then 2 inches to wheel back round. Whoop. Gets me to here, and I think I'll be like 14 inches away, so I will actually be in charge range next turn. My Marauder horse in the centre that are in skirmish formation are going to just move well within their 16-inch move and give me a bit of protection from that gyrocopter by being in skirmish formation. So I'll be able to basically charge 360 with them, so it can't just pop over my ranks. Now finally, my sorcerer, oh not finally, I've got a couple more units. My sorceress is going to advance 7, and I'm going to double check actually before I like chess move do that, whether I'll be in 18 of that dwarf. Oh, Phil will nicely. No, he's well out of that.
There's also a runesmith here, but that's going to be...
So no, it's for my casting of,
right, sorry.
magic spells. Oh, will you just give me an 18 off the closest model? Yeah. So I'm outside of that 18, so I might as well just march up a bit more rather than moving normally and put myself in sort of some cover so that I can cast spells as all round as I want next turn and not be like wasting by only doing a normal move. My spawn is going to do its random movement value, and I don't have to actually declare where it's moving. 4, useless. entirely useless. I'm going to go to there. My knights with that rubbish spawn move are a bit hemmed in, so I thought it'd at least get out of the way.
Yeah.
So they're going to be right behind these Mournfangs, well within their 14-inch move. My Gore, with their skirmish and move through cover, are actually going to be useful this game because it's my only unit really that can get into that tower, and I don't really, if nothing else, I just don't want Phil to be able to just get into it. Like, even if they're not there to win the game, they're just there to stop Phil auto winning. And finally, my Centaur are going to go 12.
And do they have move through cover, Centaur?
They do. My Centaur in the command phase, actually I need to roll for their drunkenness. 4, so they're not drunken this turn. They've got move through cover, so I'll ignore the -1 for going through the woods. So the Centaur have ended up here and just fit in to that central bit after putting the movement tray under the Mournfangs. Into the shooting phase, I actually have something to do as Chaos because javelins are move and fire, so I can march and then throw my javelins.
Yep.
They've got 12-inch range, so I've got 3 that are in both line of sight and range of the bolt thrower over here. I'm at long range, so that's -1, but there's no -1 because I've got quick shot for the javelins for moving and shooting. So that'll be hitting on 5s. 1. What is your toughness? I imagine I need 6s and I don't get it.
Toughness 6.
Yes. So good job. Better against elves. But I think that's it for Chaos turn 1. And we'll go into Dwarves turn 1. So into Dwarf turn 1, we've actually just realised that the special features rules means this tower is worth 100 victory points. Yes!
Which I was complaining about because I'd say this dwarf made tower is more than 3 times better.
Well, from a sort of like a dwarf perspective, you would say that.
I would.
And from a fact that it's your tower perspective,
Also.
you would also say
would.
that. Yeah. Well, command phase. Have you got any command phase stuff?
No.
Okay. I am. Oh, I forgot to do all my Gaze of the Gods. Oh well.
I'll try and remind you next time. Yeah.
Well, it's my own fault, but I immediately think charges at the start of turn.
Yeah.
So any charges?
No charges to declare. So in fact, not much movement this turn. So I'm going to
From
move.
a dwarf player against a fast chaos cavalry.
So I'm going to
army.
move the gyrocopter to something like that.
Yes. And this is. Oh, that's not a march, is it? That's just a
No,
normal
this is
move.
just a normal, and it's a skirmisher, so
It doesn't
can
care.
pivot, and then do some flaming, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm not going to move any of my war machines. I'm not going to move my shooting units, and so they're actually blocked, obviously, by the Thunderers at the moment. And this unit, I could move. I'm not going to move it at the moment. So
Okay.
that's all of the movement.
Now comes the arguing over how many hits on the flame template.
That's right. So
that traditional thing. Shooting.
Shooting.
Where are we starting?
I'm actually going to start. See, I don't think this bolt thrower's got very many good targets.
No, well, so I tried to front on to everything, but these dogs I didn't really care about, and these dogs I suppose you might be in the side, but they're very minimal on what the actual targets are.
Yeah.
And purposefully so.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
almost as if there's some tactics.
I know, almost.
Yeah.
Almost, very slight.
So I'm actually going to start with the bolt thrower here and fire it.
At that rank of dogs.
Is that the best thing to start with? You know what? I actually think the best thing to start with is possibly the flame cannon because it might hit them.
Okay, so you're going to guess range and add an artillery dice, right?
Yes. Well, choose a range, not.
Oh yeah. You're going to measure and then guess the exact range.
I'm probably not going to hit them, but I want to do something like, I guess, that.
Right, so that's an 8-inch from the cannon. A 7-inch?
7. So I guess if I guess, well, add 2 to the artillery dice, I think.
Add 2?
So, because we know that's 7 inches, I'm going to guess, add 1 inch.
Yes.
And then roll the artillery dice.
Right.
So here we go. Of course! Of course. Excellent.
And you even called it an artillery dice?
I did.
Not a misfire dice.
I did.
So we'll roll to see what happens, eh? Have
yeah.
you got an engineer?
I do not have an engineer.
Oh, Phil, what's going on, man?
Right, let's roll that. Nope. In the tray, a 5.
Probably just not firing this turn, right? So it fails to shoot this turn, no further ill effects.
As I was just saying off camera, I think the flame cannon, I don't think it's actually fired a good shot, ever.
Well, I think with a roll like that, I'm going to blame you rather than the cannon.
Yeah. Right, so next we'll go to the gyrocopter, where we're going to try and flame, I guess. So we can get quite a few of those, and then...
And what'll that be, like 3 partials on?
So 3 partials on this unit, I think, yeah.
And then
a bunch of a partial on everyone in that unit.
So because of my long cavalry bases, Phil's actually going to be struggling to get full hits on the models. So he's chosen to actually do all partials on the dogs unit, and he centered over the unit even doing that. And then 3 partials on my Marauder horse unit.
Yeah, so rolling for the dogs.
Guess
1. Strength 3, I'm pretty sure that's right. So I think that's fails.
It fails at strength 3, because I'm toughness 3. So fails on the dogs, then 3 partials on the Marauder horse. So it gets 1, and then needs 5s. Oh, it flames 1. And 1 just dies because my armor save is a 5-up. And I believe you got an armor piercing 2?
Armor piercing 1.
Oh, you've...
On the steam gun, it's armor piercing 1.
Ah, right, okay. Have you got armor bane?
No, just breath weapon.
So I've got a 6-up. No, 1 does die. And I'm going to take... Well, I'm going to just take that one. I thought there might be some tactics into like where I want to reveal, but...
Right, so then I've got a bolt thrower, some thunderers and some quarrelers. So
yes.
Hoping for some better luck with these. And I'm not totally sure what the best target is with this bolt thrower, but I'm actually going to fire it at the dogs, hoping to kill a number of them and then potentially be able to shoot something
further
else,
back
maybe
with the thunderers,
yeah. So that's obviously going to be short range, so I'm just looking at 4 to hit.
Okay. Yeah, nails him. So he's strength 6 to start.
Yeah.
And the first 3 with the through and through, it'll be 2s for the strength 6, 2s for the strength 5s. So the first 2 will be 2-ups.
Yep.
And then 3s, 4s, 5s.
Right, so 2 2-ups, and then a 3-up,
Dead.
and then a 4-up. No. And then a 5
the
up.
5-up,
Yeah.
because through and through still goes through.
No. So 3.
And that will be these 3.
And that should be a panic test on them, right?
At the end of the turn, yeah. So I think they're still luckily blocking a number of the Thunderers.
Yeah. They will be. I might just have a look at what they can see.
So
I will fire that.
Yes, so all but one Thunderers can actually see into Jebe's unit. The dogs have saved me from a single shot, though it's probably worth their points if I
Probably
lose
is.
one less
Yes,
Marauder.
yeah. So I should check the range actually.
So they've got 12 short, have they?
They have got 12 short. So I think
All but 2.
all but 2 are going to be in short. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so
Have you got a champion in that unit as well?
I do not have a champion.
No.
So I've got 7 hitting on 2s. Sorry, 7 hitting on 4s,
Yes.
not 2s. It's a bit
5
better.
hits.
And then I've got 2 hitting on 5s. No. So just these, and then strength 4, and you are
Toughness 4 because of my spell at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's 4.
At minus. Well, so that's armor bane. So that's minus
2.
2, and these are at minus 1.
Right, so that's 3 normal saves, or 3 6-up saves.
Yep.
So I save 1, and then 1 that's just dead, so that's 3 total dead from the unit, leaving just my champion musician and Jebe.
And that's going to be a
unit.
panic
And that's
check.
a panic check for them, yeah.
Yeah. So what else can I sensibly shoot with a bolt thrower?
So that's just the final bolt thrower on this side.
Um,
And Phil, being on a hill, can shoot at any unit except through the terrain, obviously.
yeah. I guess I'll concentrate fire on that unit there.
Okay,
The
so that's
Marauders,
Jebe's unit.
Jebe's unit, yeah.
Okay.
So again, it's going to be a 4. Hits.
Hits, a 2-up,
It does wound.
it skewers
In fact,
1.
it kills.
And that's the musician. Right, well that was fairly effective in taking down that unit. And we've got the quarrelers left to go.
We do. So there's quite a few targets. Can I just?
Shooting.
I'm going to be firing at these mercenary Mornfangs.
Mornfangs,
So
yeah.
I'm in. I've got a 15-inch short range with this, with crossbows. So I think certainly up to there, I'd say that's short range.
Right, so if you've got 10, that's 7 of them in short.
And then that's going to be long. So
Oh, is it just the last 2?
the last 2 are in long range, yeah.
Okay.
And there is there's a runesmith in this unit.
So that'll be Armor Bane 2 on top of any modifiers that you've got already. So with 11 total in the unit, Phil's got 9 dudes.
Hitting on 4s.
Yeah. Well, that's fairly good. Got
And
6
then,
total hits from that 9.
And then 2 more in long range. No.
Phil then needs 4s to wound because I'm toughness 4 and he's crossbow, he's strength 4.
And I've got armor bane 3 effectively here because of the runesmith.
So the 1-6 just takes a wound. I can't do anything about that.
And then I've got 2 normal wounds.
2 normal wounds gives me a 4-up because I've got heavy armour and armoured hide. 1. So that means an ogre is down to 2 wounds left.
And I think that's it.
So test time. So Jebe, really hope he doesn't run away. He doesn't.
Ooh.
And the dogs that are here, now they're leadership rubbish and they really run. I'm going to choose to use Swift Strike because I really want them out of the way basically. 5. That was good, I suppose.
It might get you out of the way, right? You're running directly away, aren't you?
Yeah. So
They're
it
gonna-
plonks me at the corner of the tower, which isn't the best runaway I've ever done. But it's also not the worst turn, I wouldn't say, for chaos against that shooting.
No,
No.
the war machines weren't particularly effective. Obviously, the flame cannon.
The flame cannon. And with that, we'll get into chaos turn 2. So command phase before I do anything else, and before I forget it, basically, I'm going to do stupidity or drunkenness on the centaur, who are fine, and I'm going to do gaze of the gods, Jebe, gaze of the gods on my sorceress. So both 4s, that's easy to remember. So that actually gives Jebe +1 weapon skill as well as the sorcerer +1 weapon skill. So a weapon skill of 8 on Jebe, which is fairly nice. So into the conjuration step, I'm going to use Demonic Vigour on Jebe's unit, and that will give them +1 toughness, movement, and initiative.
Mm-hmm.
It goes off on a 13.
Don't think I'm going to be in the range of. So 18
Yeah, I think
is to there.
I think you're just about in. Oh, you are. You are definitely in. You definitely cover my base with that.
Right, I'll attempt to wizardly dispel that with this runesmith. What
Okay.
did you get?
13.
Oh, so I actually need a.
So do you want to fated dispel that one and leave it till later?
Well, I can't, can I? I've got to beat you.
You can get double 6.
Oh, I see. Right. Yeah. I'll attempt to face the dispel. No.
No.
Close,
So,
but no.
no, and it's I think a big enough thing when it comes to stand and shoot. It was worth, I think, using the fated there.
Yep.
Next, rallying, because I've got a unit of dogs that are running away. So they're going to rally on their rubbish leadership because I can't use my generals or anything like that. 7, no. So they continue running.
Oh, so they aren't allowed to use the inspiring
No, because
presence?
they're an allied detachment.
Ah, of course.
So I'm going to use my swift stride. So you can see marked out on the table all the charges that I've declared. We've got. If I go through the line, do you want to declare your reaction as you've done it?
Yeah.
The skirmishing marauder horse on the right are going to go into the bolt thrower.
It will hold.
Yes. We've got the dogs into the other bolt thrower.
It will also not run away.
Yep, thought so. We've got Jebe into the thunderers along with the unit of 6 marauder horse skirmishing at the back that are just going to go in basically to make Phil have to think about where his stand and shoot was going to be. I was going to say Overwatch.
Yes.
But
So they are obviously going to stand and shoot.
who are they doing it?
They will stand and shoot against the skirmishing unit, I think.
Okay. My unit of marauder horse at the back here are going to go into the gyrocopter.
It will hold.
Okay. Trusting himself to just win in that combat with his full plate, high toughness.
Yeah, he obviously could have fled
2
and
attacks.
he might well have got out of charge range.
Yes.
But then he's
He is quite
out.
close.
Yeah,
as well.
and he's out of the game for a bit as well by
Yeah, rather
fleeing
than
and
potentially taking out a marauder
Correct.
horse unit.
yeah.
And Centaurs and Mournfang cavalry are going to go into the great weapon quarrelers.
So they will stand and shoot, and they're going to stand and shoot against the Mournfangs in the hope of taking one out and obviously reducing the incoming attacks.
Yeah, because you only have to do 2 wounds to them
Yeah.
to actually do them in.
Yeah.
Shall we? Oh, it's charge reactions before movement. So let's get on with the quarrelers.
Yeah.
And that'll be exactly the same as last time. So it's 9 in short. And actually long range doesn't matter on a stand and shoot. So it's just -1 to all of them. They'll be hitting on 5s for the stand and shoot reaction.
So they're actually going to be hitting on 4s because they're dwarf crafted.
So-
They're hitting on 4s after all
Yes.
that nonsense.
There's a lot of 6s there.
There are a lot of 6s. They don't mean anything at this stage. Obviously, if I get 6s to wound, that will be armor bane.
Yes.
Armor bane lots.
It's 7 to hit.
So
7 hits.
2 at -3
Yes.
and 2 at -0.
So the 2 at -3 kills the standard bearer of the Mournfangs. The 2 at normal armor save take 2 wounds out of the 4.
And we need to
Off the
remember
Mournfang
those
champion.
4 for combat res
For combat
purposes.
res, yeah. I'll just have to wipe the unit, it's fine.
I can use an artillery dice for that.
So next stand and shoot, we've got the Thunderers
So
into the
declared-
further away skirmish.
Yeah, so this will be on 5s, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
can we
they're
put the
skirmishes? Yeah.
trade?
So that's going to be on 5s because they're skirmishes.
Yes. Oh no, 4s, because the skirmish penalty only applies if you're a unit strength 1 model.
Oh right, I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. It's one of the changes.
Yeah, that's
in the
a
old world.
big change in the old world.
So it's 5 hits
and then
3s,
yeah. So
2.
not great, but 2 die.
and that's 1/6
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
to get
so,
the armor piercing.
Yeah. So 1.
1/6 up, and then that's 2 total dead.
Yep.
What? And you go second musician. Right. That's all the stand and shoots, so we'll get into my actual charge ranges. Can I just grab the...
Yeah, sure. Where do you want?
Thank you. So we're going to work down the line from right to left, really. So my unit here is going to go a total of more than enough.
Yeah.
9 plus their 8.
Without doubt they're going to be in.
17. So that's 9 inches away.
So these are kind of just wound counters, right?
Yes, because it's just the actual side of the base, which I think is 75.
I think it might be 50 by 50, you know.
Next, we'll go on to the dogs, because I don't like bolt throwers. And they get an 8 plus their 7-inch move.
Again, it's going
which
to be
is
ample, isn't it?
well in. So they're going to wheel
Do you want to-
and then just bash in.
So we'll know they're obviously up against the...
Yes, and you will get your +1
I will.
for being on a hill. Next, let's do Jebe in. He's got +1 movement, and his demonic steed has movement 8 base, so that matches the Marauder Cav. So they're going to get movement 9.
It is a nice change that mounts aren't such a liability, I think. Versus in 6th.
Yes. What you mean, slowing the units?
Slowing the units, being shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get a maximum charge, and I could really do this. So they're definitely in.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to maximise to here. And the further away unit of skirmishers are going to get 7 plus their 8. So that's 15, which I don't think brings them in. Oh,
Oh no, I'd say it does.
it does. So I think it's only that one that it brings in, though.
Yeah, you're
So,
right. I've looked this
actually,
up. Yeah, 'cause I-
they'll all just weirdly rank up behind. So one gets in, and the champion will be the one at the front, right? Because he pushes through. And then they rank up in a line. Do you know what? I'm just going to do the dogs running. It no longer matters, I suppose. But they're going to go 11 out of the way, and that's just so I can nicely turn that. That's ridiculous. Next, the Marauder Horse that are going into the gyrocopter get a max charge, so that would have been nice at these ones.
Yeah. So I align to you there, right?
No, I wheel and align, and then...
Well, I'm a skirmisher.
Yes, yeah, so I have to wheel to go to your middle,
Yeah.
and then I'll contact,
And then
you align too.
Yeah.
So strategically, I'm going to go in with the Centaur first, 'cause I've got the best chance of winning, I believe, with the Centaur.
Mm-hmm.
And I also don't want to block
What?
the Mournfang Cavalry. So I basically don't want the Mournfang Cavalry to move forward,
Yeah.
stop, and have failed charged in the way of the Centaurs.
Which Max has just explained to my small brain. So I've just done
You
these
get
things.
you would have got it when I inevitably failed that charge.
Indeed.
So I get the maximum 6 and 3, and do you know what? I've not needed to top up much
No.
with these units, but it is useful when it happens. I've just been very lucky. The Mournfang, just so I don't have to pick him up, put him back down, pick him up, gets the maximum charge. That's of a 9.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get them moved and come back. So into the remaining moves, because I've already done my compulsory to get the movement tray out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start by casting. I'm going to cast Steed of Shadows on my Gore. 6. It goes to a 10, and therefore goes off. Do you want to try and dispel this?
Well, so...
And I'm basically just wanting to catapult them into the building.
what other spells have you got?
I've got...
Oh, it's
so
alright.
you can wizardly dispel every time.
I can. Yes, of
Yeah.
course I want to try and dispel.
So
it.
you may...
Yeah.
You may as well.
So you got 10, right?
Yes. Yeah, I've got a 10. Oh, 4. Oh,
Hey,
he gets
no,
it!
yeah, 10 plus
you've
1,
got 11, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Wellity. Next, I'm going to do some movements and some stuff. So my sorceress is going to move 7 because I want to get within 3 inches of this unit, and I also want line of sight
Oh, to not
to
be
the
shot.
flame cannon. Yeah, to not be shot, and I'm within 3 of that unit now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's useful. Over the other side of the battlefield, my harpies are making their way round and just causing a kerfuffle with this unit if it falls back in good order, because it means, and I'll be an inch away, it means that 50% of those, do you know what? No, I won't. Be a bit more so I can get past the unit and not be charged by Longbeards. So I actually don't want to be too close to these because it will get the long beards in my side if my unit stops and I'm an inch away. So I've gone a bit further back, hoping to be able to charge the flame cannon next turn. Next up, we'll go with my knight. I'm going to wheel 7 just past the corner of this building. I'm then going to, or wheel and move 7, I suppose, sorry. I'm going to wheel 2 and then go 5 to get to here. And that's just to maximise my forward arc and also so to be able to do a charge next turn. Also, if anything starts charging forwards towards me, I want to be able to catch them out by charging them in the next turn. And also, stop that Ironbreaker unit getting into the building by drilled marching.
Well, it's too big.
Oh, can it not enter the building?
Unit strength of 10 or less.
Excellent. Excellent. My Gore are going to run forwards 9, and then with their move through cover, move up here, because we'd agreed that it would just be difficult terrain, and I'll be in that building in the next turn. Do you know what? I'll stop behind, because I've not quite got the movement to get in, and I don't want to be shot by
stuff.
I sort of don't want to be shot by like any dwarf handguns, because you only need to kill 2. Like there's a random handgun on the Lord. You only need to kill 2 to force a panic check of leadership 6.
Don't think I did put a handgun on the Lord.
Well, I'm going there anyway. We'll get the spawn. He's moving 6. He's a really, really slow Sentai horse.
Can't take a great weapon if you take a handgun.
Oh really? It's an either or?
Yeah.
So obviously you take the great weapon.
Yes.
Because great weapons are quite good.
Yes.
Right. And that is my movement phase.
Who isn't?
So in the shooting phase, I'm going to start with magic. I didn't march, so I can do a magic missile.
Yep.
And I'm going to do the summoning on the flame cannon. Does it go off? 7 to an 11, it does.
So I will attempt to wizardly dispel from.
You're
Definitely.
yeah, he's in front of me. No, on
no.
a 7, is it?
Are
you a level 1
Level
captain?
1. Yeah.
So he's 2d6, strength 4s. That's 3 in the tray. 8.
Now the flame cannon is because this counts as a shooting attack, doesn't it?
Yes, so it will all strike the cannon at strength 4 AP minus 2. So I think you're. Let's see if I get 6s.
You need 6s, yeah.
1 at minus 2.
It has light armor, so it just takes
So
a wound.
it takes a wound, yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
Right, and then that is just straight on into combat phase.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with the one on the far right, and we'll work down again. Unless there's a specific reason that I do it another combat first. I can't really see it because there's no overruns.
Yeah, you're not
that
going to run
affect
into a
each
unit
other.
that's already engaged.
Yeah,
are you?
exactly. So, with my 4 skirmishing marauders that are in contact, I've got a champion, so that's 5 total attacks. I'm initiative a lot higher than dwarf,
Yes.
actually pretty much all the way down the line. So, with the 5 attacks,
What's your weapon skill?
3, I'm 4.
Yeah, 3, yeah.
So that's 5 hits and 4 at minus 2.
So they're
Got a
dead.
flail. And they will. They'll overrun, but not add their swift stride. So 10, which I bet puts me like 2 inches in front of the board edge. So I've motored down into the lines there. We've next got my warhounds into the dwarf crew. I hit twice
Your weapon skill 4 with the warhounds.
with the warhounds. Yeah, they in sick they were as well.
It's just-
They're
shouldn't be-
trained
should not
chaos
be-
warhounds.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not runt hounds or boarhounds.
It still shouldn't be more higher weapon skill than a.
They're
100
savage
years old
beasts. They're savage beasts bred for combat. And you spent 100 years cranking back that
True.
shaft. So I need 5s to wound you anyway, and I don't wound you.
So I'm going to get 3 attacks. Weapon skill
I forgot my
3.
poison attacks, oh well.
Weapon skill 3.
I don't think I
strength
hit you on that anyway.
I don't
So yeah, so 4s to hit me. No.
3. Useless.
Do you know what? You win combat by 1.
Oh, for the
'cause
hill.
you're on a hill.
Yeah, true.
I pass my modified. So I pass my unmodified, fail my modified.
Mhm.
So I'm going to fall back in good order.
I'm not going to follow up.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
So I'm going to go 5 backwards. So on to the gyrocopter versus these Marauder horse.
Yes.
Now, my champion is in contact with the gyrocopter, so I will have 6 total attacks. 7 total attacks because there's 6 dudes in the unit.
The gyrocopter, unlike the dwarf crew, is a combat
got weapon
monster,
skill
so he's
4?
got weapon skill 4, yeah.
Right, so he's forced to hit.
Ace pilot.
So I've got 2 hits. Your toughness 5.
I am.
No wounds.
Like then
And then I've got my horses.
Oh, sorry.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
No.
I could see that coming a mile off.
Yeah.
Forced to hit from the horses.
Always.
The horses are really mad. What is it, strength 3, so 6 is to wound? Nothing. Nothing
So,
at all.
I get 2 attacks, strength 4.
Yes.
So,
So, forced to hit?
No.
I have a musician,
so you
which I
win.
believe you don't.
I do not.
Yes,
So
so,
leadership check.
lose by
Or
1.
break test.
Oh, it gives ground. So 2 inches, and I'm going to follow up to pin that gyrocopter in
What?
place. Wabash. And I'll move the terrain out of the way while you move my dog. Right. Let's save the Jeppe combat till last. Just because I feel like it. These are your dice. We'll next go into the Centaur and Mournfang. So I've got the Mournfang's impact hits, which I'll actually have to look up. With the impact hits, I get D3, so 2. And with that, I've got strength of 5 for the Mournfang. So I wound twice, one of which is at AP -2, one is AP -1.
So that's 1 dead and then a 6 up because they've got heavy armour.
Right. Next, we move on to initiative 5 with my Centaur. Oh, my Centaur champion actually. Toothhoof the Warhoof. So next goes my Centaur hero. I've got 4 attacks. I hit 3 times, and I've got cavalry spear with strength 5, so I'm strength 6. So that's 2 at AP -1.
So 2 6-ups. So 1.
We're then onto the initiative 5 step, and that's my Centaur. So I've got 9 Centaur in the unit and a champion, so it's total 10 attacks because I've got throwing spears, so everyone is going to be striking. They hit on 3s because dwarves are now weapon skill 3 for quarrelers.
Yep.
So that's 8 hits. And then I'm strength 4. That's 3 wounds.
What AP minus?
Nothing.
AP nothing, so 5s.
Oh,
Ho-ho!
absolutely loves them. Next, we'll have the Mournfang, which is now initiative 5 because of the charge.
Yep.
It's got 3 attacks, weapon skill 3, so I get 2 hits. It's strength 5, so 3s. It's 2 wounds, and AP -1 and armor bane. So you've got a 6 and a nothing
Yeah. So I've got
from the armor bane.
1 dead. Do I have to remove it from this side?
I'd remove from anyway. They're all fighting with 1 attack anyway.
Yeah. So 1 and then
1 at a 6 up.
6 up. No.
Finally, I've got my ogre champion with great weapon, and I'll have stomp attacks at initiative 1. So the great weapon champion hits 3 times. I'm strength 6 with a great weapon, so that's 3 wounds at -2, 1 at -3.
So that's just 3 dead.
That's just dead. Right, so your strikes back with
Yeah.
your great weapons.
Yeah.
So the dwarves with great weapons, these will be at the same initiative as my stomp attacks.
So I've got 3 at weapon skill 3 into
Yeah.
the
The
Centaur.
Centaur.
2
2
hits, and they're strength 5.
So 3s, so 1 eviscerated.
And then the runesmith has 2 attacks at weapon skill higher than the weapon skill 5, I think.
Surely.
Yeah.
Surely.
Weapon skill 5 for the runesmith.
So 3s,
Oh, useless.
then my stomp attacks back. So I've got the the 4 that were in contact with the dwarfs, one of which is Tooth Hoof the War Hoof. And that's
I want you to say
strength
that
5.
a lot of times.
Tooth Hoof the
today.
War Hoof?
Yeah.
Yeah, well that's his name. So Tooth Hoof the War Hoof doesn't wound, whereas I've got 3 6s from the normal Centaur, which all wound. So
Does that have AP to it?
no.
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 Okay, so just 5s.
No,
Right,
so-
so the unit is destroyed.
Yeah, and the character will be on whatever his minus is. So onto the combat res. Phil, do you want to do the
Yeah.
combat res from your side?
So I got 4 stand and shoot,
Yes.
and then 1 in the combat.
Yes.
And that's it.
Right. So that is a total of 5,
You killed,
like 10.
yeah, 10, the entire
10.
Warrior unit, yep.
Right. So that is 9 total swing. Oh no, it's not. 10 minus 5 is in fact 5 because I can do basic maths. I've got a standard, and I've not got close order or anything like that, but I do have a rank.
Yeah,
So I have won by 7,
okay.
which puts the runesmith on a 2.
Yeah,
Or
because
even with the dwarf lord within 12.
doesn't make any difference, because he's leadership 10 with the dwarf lord,
Ah, so it's still
but it's still a
2.
2, yeah.
2 with
Oh!
with a BSB reroll.
Oh, of course. Is that within 12?
Oh, surely will be. Oh, is that where he is? I thought he was this
Yeah.
banner in the Dwarf Lord unit.
No, that's the unit champion. Or unit.
Oh, that was so close as well.
So if possibly one more had survived, it would have been.
And he runs 6 inches. Okay.
So he's going 5 inches. You
And I'm
rolled a
obviously
6.
pursuing.
Yes.
So, Tooth Hoof the Warhoof's unit goes 5 and contacts him.
So he's dead.
And the Mornfang Cav goes 5. And I think just ploughs into
Straight into
the Longbirds.
the Longbirds, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to put those on the other side of the tray. And the Centaur reform as I've just run down the Warsmith. So we're into the Jebe and long line of Marauders combat.
The conga line.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, do you know what? He's the completely alternate line hammer than
Yeah.
what is raging on the internet at the moment.
My version is the sort of raging version.
Well, but surely they were normal, like they've always been like that, the shooting
A unit
units.
of 10, yes.
Yeah, and well, my army, I've got 1 rank. I'm also doing it. So Jebe the Chaos Lord will go first. He's weapon skill 8, so I'll hit on 2s now. He still manages to miss one, and the 2 ups didn't actually help. I do get 4 wounds at AP -2 though.
So they do have shields. So heavy
Ooh,
armour and
a bit
shields.
Heavy armour shields.
They do. So they've got shields modelled on the bases. Not on
Yes.
actual.
Well, they just pick them up, right?
Yeah. So how many wounds was that?
4 wounds because I
4.
didn't fail any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 4 6-ups. So that's 4. Does it make a difference where I remove them from?
I don't
Are you
think
supposed
so.
to?
Really.
I'm supposed to leave them in base to base, possibly.
Yes, because they'll file down, won't they?
Yeah. That actually is what I'm supposed to do.
Next, the demonic steed will go. So I get 2 hits, 2 wounds, it's strength 5, and I might even have armor. So that's 1 with armor bane 1.
Yeah. So that's on a 5, and
Oh,
then the
loves
other
it.
one is just a 4-up. So 1 more dead.
Next, just assuming that all the dwarfs are lesser initiative than me, which is
They
a fairly safe bet.
They are initiative 2.
Right, so I've got 2 war horses that makes 2 hits, no wounds, and I've got 4 attacks from the Marauder Cav champions. So I get 3 hits and 3s. I get 3 wounds at -2 from the flails.
So 3 6-ups.
Yes.
No. So, whoops.
Right. So that is a fairly good outcome from that combat.
So I am going to
Yeah.
get 2 attacks, which
Because they were all in line to start. Oh, they were all in the fighting rank to start with.
they were.
Do you want to strike the single Marauder Cav, Jebe, or I suppose that's the only ones that they're in contact with.
So I think probably the best is to put both of them into.
The Marauder Cav
I
champ.
think so. Yeah.
Okay, so 4's to hit,
1 hit
4's to wound.
does wound. No
6
AP.
is. Oh! Right. So in this combat here, I did 8 wounds.
Yeah.
And that's my combat res.
Right. Because you do have close order.
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't. So
don't.
I have close order.
So that's 7.
And then I did 2 kills on the standard shoot.
Yes. So that's a total of -5 to that unit's leadership.
Obviously, you do more than double my unit strength.
Yes. Yeah.
So that
Luckily.
means I'm on leadership. Interesting, actually. Am I within 12 of my general? Yes.
Yeah.
Easily. Well, just, but clearly. So that's leadership 4 with a... Sorry, leadership 5.
Yes.
But with a reroll from the BSB. So that's a fail, obviously. As is that.
Right. So you'll be running. I'm going to pursue with both units because I want to get into those miners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to run 2d6 -1. So 4.
Oh, yeah. 4.
Right, but actually what that means is they will pop out here.
Okay.
Because that's right, isn't it? They
Yeah, because you hit the unit and just keep going.
Right, so I'm going to take them off the tray and then they'll be out the other side of this unit.
And that means I'll roll my dice. I can't now contact the unit, but it does allow me to overrun into those miners. So Jebe gets a 10. And I don't know why I'm rolling, because I don't think I can fail that 3. So with this, I can't actually get multiple skirmishes into that combat, so they rank up behind. Which means I stay in this conga line, because I'm already contacted with the other unit. And I believe that's a fairly hefty flank that is about to get run into. Though I'll count as charging that like 2 inches or whatever it is. So
Yep.
I've got a big long fighting rank, it's just down the flank instead. And that's the last thing in Chaos turn 2. So gone fairly well at the moment, I think, though I've got to weather the storm that is going to be incoming towards my Lord's unit. And with that, we'll get into Dwarves turn 2. So in Dwarves 2, any command phase items?
Yeah, so I'm going to attempt to rally the 2 Thunderers.
Yes.
I need to get double 1 because they're below 25%.
Okay.
So that's definitely not a double 1.
And I imagine you've got Rallying Cry in your battle standard?
Yes.
If not, it's a battle standard.
Yeah.
So.
Close. But obviously they do not rally, so they're quite possibly going to be off the table. Movement-wise, the only things I can actually move are my War Machines and my unit of Iron Breakers, because everything else is locked in combat. The Iron Breakers are going to declare a charge here.
On the Marauders. Well, there's no charge reaction because I'm locked in combat already.
I don't think I can... They are drilled,
Yes.
but given the space available, they actually can't expand their frontage.
Yes, so these... Well, it means that there's no argument about drilled and charging, right?
That's true. That's true.
So, the 2d6, pick the highest, so an 8-inch total charge,
So,
which will just wheel you in nicely,
yeah.
I think, and we don't have to worry about, like,
So,
do they have to just do a minimal charge and go forwards and not wheel and then automatically align? All is well in the world. Right.
So,
Yeah.
there's no magic phase anymore, so we're on to shooting.
Yes. Bolt thrower and flame cannon. So we've just measured it, and I'm not going to be able to measure it as accurately now, but by the skin of a teeth, and by actually them being in a really long line, the sorcerer is still within 3 inches of that Marauder Cav unit.
So she's not getting picked out by the bolt thrower.
So that leads Phil to then, what do you do with the flame cannon?
Yes, and so one juicy target will be the Centaur, because obviously they're a big unit. It's not in combat.
Yes.
But although there's probably range to do that, it feels like I've got a few of my own template-shaped units under the path of that template.
Yeah, it's quite... that would be a very tempting target if it was, in fact, my unit.
Yeah, and I suppose the other place I could go would be to target the Knights.
Yes.
So 12 would take me to there.
So that would definitely miss the Iron Breakers.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea, but I'm actually going to start with the bolt thrower because I don't have to do a guess range weapon first.
Yes.
And that will shoot this unit that's behind me.
Okay.
It's actually a skirmish unit, even though it looks like it's nicely ranked up.
But yeah, it's from contacting the bolt thrower last
Yeah,
turn.
yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it?
It doesn't make a great deal of sense to fire the bolt thrower there. So I think, just checking the range. So they are actually in half range, and they, I would say, are not. So I'll fire it at the knights.
Yes. So they are in half range, you say?
Yeah.
So 4s.
That doesn't make
No.
any difference. Useless.
And then the flame cannon, I suppose he could swivel
He will
and get
swivel
all of
and
those
try and.
Marauder Cav. So,
So-
with a very close unit.
We're going to guess 0, and then we're going to find the artillery dice. Well done! Well done!
What?
I mean,
I think your flame cannons are cursed.
yes.
You maybe need to go with like an old grumblers list.
Yeah. No misfire dice artillery. If that wasn't a nice old metal model, I'd throw it away. So
4.
Useless.
Why am I even bothering going anywhere near it? Because I just let it fire at me every
Right,
time.
the crew immediately lose 1 wound. Good. They deserve that.
I think you becoming more Chaos Dwarf by the second.
Yeah. This flame cannon's going to turn me. And then it can't shoot and can't shoot before. So it's not shooting next turn.
Right, okay.
Useless. 125 points down the drain.
So, combat, I guess?
Right. Yeah. Does it make a difference what order to do these? I don't think it really does.
There's going to be... I suppose you could overrun into my dogs, but that's not going to matter based
No.
on the combat.
They're fleeing anyway, aren't they?
Yes.
Right, well, we'll leave this one to last.
Yes.
So let's start with the
The gyrocopter.
gyrocopter. Yeah,
So you gave ground,
I did.
and I'm higher initiative than you, so I'm going to go first, but I'm not going to get the +2 strength modifier from my flails because it's an ongoing combat.
Yeah.
I hit on 4s, which gets me 4 hits, and I could really do with some 6s now. None. I've also got 6 horses, which hit 3 times. 6s! No, nothing at all.
So 2 attacks back for this
That gyrocopter.
crack
Yeah,
pilot who
He
does
gets
hit
a
this
hit,
time.
strength-
I think he's strength 4 in the gyrocopter.
I think he is because he's a combat dwarf.
so. That
He
is a wound, isn't it?
And I've got a 6-up save,
Oh!
which means I win by musician.
So a leadership test.
Yeah.
Well, why not? Why not flee?
You know, 'cause it's just the done thing.
Yeah, he's out of range.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
Of the battle standard?
Yeah.
Right. So, I imagine you're going to use... I suppose you don't have to use Swift Stride because I'm going to contact that dogs unit and immediately stop.
Oh, that's true.
So, it's
Um,
then up to you how far you want to go from the fleet.
How far away from the border am I?
And that's ridiculous. It seems to be what does gyrocopters in. It's the leadership test.
That leadership 9 just doesn't cut the mustard.
In the previous Dwarf game, it was failed leaderships
Yeah.
of 10 plus.
What? So I'm just going to roll 2d6.
Yeah. So we've got
7.
8. And
8, sorry.
I will... Oh, 7. You would
No.
you have the rule of dwarfishness. Oh.
Does it have the rule? Is the gyrocopter resolute?
So it does in fact go 8, and I'm going to choose to reform there because I'm going to attempt to not overrun. In fact, I've got my general's leadership bubble, which I fail, so I have to pursue, and I'm just going to contact the dogs and stop.
Yep. So let's do this combat.
Oh, you want to go your dwarf king first?
Yeah, I've said this. Save this one for
Right.
last.
What is he using?
So
I charged an inch.
they've got the Rune of Confusion on the standard, so that turns your charge into a disordered charge, which means you don't get the bonus
Okay.
initiative.
So I'm going to go in with my great weapon because it's much better than my hand weapon.
Yes.
Because you've got heavy armor, shield,
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. So that's initiative 1. My Mournfang is initiative 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do that one first. I hit once because I'm in weapon skill 3. I wound once because I'm strength 5, and that's
So-
at AP -1.
So that will kill one. Oh no, sorry,
Do you
wait.
heavy
I'll
armor?
get a heavy armor, so I'll get a 6-up save. No, so one's dead.
Excellent. Next, it's all initiative great weapon.
Yes.
So I'll throw mine, and then you do
Yeah, yeah,
yours.
yeah.
My champion gets 4 attacks, of which I hit 4 times, and I wound twice. So it balances back out at -2.
So that's just
Kills
2
2.
dead. Okay.
Right, excellent. So onto the dwarfs, the entire front rank's fighting.
So I've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the champion, 6 longbirds.
Yes, and Phil's actually going to put his character into my Mournfang, which does not move the model because he can
Yeah.
push through the ranks.
Actually, oh yeah, so I can get both the champion and the lord, I think.
Yeah,
there.
yeah, because you can put it adjacent to the unit as well.
So these are weapon skill 5
So that's hitting on 3s because I'm weapon skill 3.
and strength 6.
Yeah, so that's winning me on 2s.
Oops. Inventory. So 3 wounds at -2.
And I've got heavy armor, armored hide. So I've got 6 ups. No, that is me wiped out. Okay, and we'll look into the overkill. So Phil wants to reform. So
Yeah. So I'm gonna spin round to.
yeah, so I'm in.
Try
So I'm in
not
the
to-
front of both of them basically.
Yeah, exactly. So they're clearly going to be in the front, obviously.
Or even the harpies are in the front. Now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. And
Does
yeah,
that give rise to? I've just remembered about panic,
It does cause panic. It
and we should have done
does.
some panic.
Yeah, we
earlier.
should. we should. However, a re-rolling leadership 10 test will forgive you for that one. The harpies, though, are a bit more scaredy cat. They definitely fail on that,
Mhm.
and I'm going to run away from the source of panic. So that's this way,
Yep.
or I suppose this way.
Um,
And I'm not going to
yeah,
use my
'cause
swift
it's-
stride. Or I think I'm on the board anyway there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you could.
So they get to here, and then my Centaur, a leadership, that. Oh, they've also got +1 for Warband,
Yeah,
because
so
I've
they're
got a
fine.
rank. So
They're
yeah,
fine.
they're fine. But I'm rolling them before looking up the exact number, because a lot of the time it works out like that or an obvious fail. Right, into this sort of mental combat.
Yeah.
We've got Jebe going first because he's initiative a lot as
Yes.
a Chaos Lord.
And he's
Then-
not got a great weapon, has he? So he's.
No, he's not. He's got a flail, and all of my guys have flails. So the Marauders charging 2 because the bases are 25, and then there's an inch away between units, so I minimum charge 2,
Mhm.
gets us to initiative 5. However, the Iron Breakers are in the side, which puts the maximum charge bonus up to 4, and they did a big long wheelie charge rather than a small charge and in
Yeah.
and a freer line. So actually, you're going to get +4 charge bonus, and your dwarf initiative is 2.
2 for Iron Breakers, yeah. So they're
As if
on
we've not just
initiative
discussed it,
6.
I'm going to say this like
Like you know.
like I'm the expert. Yeah.
Because Dwarf Initiative has gone up for characters, I think. But
Yeah,
not
quite a
for,
lot, quite
But
a
not
lot.
for the.
The
no,
regular dudes.
even the elite infantry.
Yes, well, as it should be, as it should be. And it's not going up much by the characters because you're using great weapons.
Correct.
So they'll be
Yeah.
initiative 5 simultaneous with my horsemen,
Yeah.
and the Iron Breakers initiative 6.
Yeah.
So let's do Jebe first and his steed. Jebe has 5 attacks. What is your weapon skill? 4 or
For
3
minors.
minors?
Ooh.
So Jebe goes first with his 5 attacks. He hits on 3s, and he will at -2 kill on 2s, I
Correct.
imagine.
Yes. Yes.
So that is 4 dead miners. My demonic steed hits maybe. I've got strength 5, so that's a wound with no AP because I've not triggered armor bane.
So just a heavy armor they've got.
Yes.
No.
And then I will do the Marauder into them because you can't spill through onto that Marauder in Jebe's unit anyway. So the Marauder champion hits once, and wounds at AP -2 for the flail.
Yeah.
The Warhorse misses. And then that's just so we've got the contained numbers that will and won't be striking back.
So I do actually have a champion in this unit.
Yes, so that will get to strike.
Get to strike. We'll do that in the proper initiative order.
Yes, then your Ironbreakers go first into the flank
Yeah. So
of the Marauder Horse
I've
there.
got a champion and the standard bearer and the musician.
Yes.
So that's 4 attacks. I'm weapon skill 5.
So
3s. Yeah.
3s, yeah.
4
4 hits.
I'm strength 4 and then
3s to wound because this unit doesn't have +1 toughness.
so that's
At -1.
so they're all at -1 for Gromrel weapons, and then
Right.
I've got a runesmith, so that's armor bane 2 on top
Oh,
of that.
the -1 ignores my save anyway.
Right.
So that is 3 dead, leaving just the champion, and he will strike simultaneously with with your characters.
Yeah.
So I'm going to strike into
I should have declared a challenge probably there.
potentially. I'm going to strike into the miners because I'm not denting the Ironbreakers unit. So I hit twice into the miners, and I wound once with AP -2.
So that's another dead.
And the
miner.
Warhorse hits and doesn't wound on a 4.
Mhm.
Go on.
Right.
Like me.
So initiative wise it's going to be these guys next, isn't it?
Yes.
So I've got 4 attacks with Methane because he's got the Rune of Fury on his great weapon, and these are all going to be higher weapon skill and
And 2s to wound.
2 to
Yeah.
wound. Yeah. So then I'll do the 2 attacks from the Runesmith. The Rune, yeah.
Yeah,
Runesmith
the
as well.
Runesmith as well. Cool.
Uh,
So hit 5 times, and then 2s to kill. I'm dead.
And then there's 2 attacks from the Minor Champion, which he will. What's the armor save on Jebe?
4 up, 5 up, 5 up.
Right, into the.
Into the yeah.
So he hits once, and he's going to be strength 5.
So 3's wound and
Minus
kills.
2.
Yeah. So that kills my Marauder Cav.
So, as we were discussing, I probably should have declared a challenge.
To get more characters into
Correct.
Jedi,
Yeah. So, learning point there. But, so combat res wise, you have got just the kills.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
In return, you kill 5 Marauder Cav.
Yeah. And then I've got 2 ranks.
So that's 2 in my favour. The 2 ranks cancel my favour.
I've got a standard,
Standard.
a battle standard, and close order. Times.
And a flank.
And do I get close order for the miners still?
Yes,
So
because
it's
you've
2
got more
close
than-
orders.
Right, so you win by a lot. By 6. I've got leadership 9 down to 3 then.
Mhm.
Do I fail? 4. I fail. And even though I would normally fall back in good order, I'm more than doubled, so I break.
Yep.
So I'm running. Do you
Uh,
want to chase, Phil?
So I'm going to guess that you will use Swift Stride here.
I am going to use Swift Stride.
Do I want to chase? What's going to happen? So I've got 2 units to chase with, both of whom. So the Ironbreakers might end up contacting the dogs, I guess.
Yeah, so after about 5 inches, you'll contact the dogs.
Yeah. But I can run down Jebe, so of course I want to chase twice.
So if I roll like a 3, or
So I think it'd
what-
be like 6 inches to contact the dogs, maybe.
so it's for me to get past them is before you'll say different. Does the miners
right,
want
yeah.
to stay there, or do they want to do anything different? So we've got a decision on the pursuit.
So we're just going to pursue with the miners, and these will test to restrain.
Yes, they will.
Maybe they will pursue.
Go on, Jebe, give us a big roll.
Yeah.
11. So you're going to need a double 6 to actually catch me because of your resolute. Or is it
Yeah.
only falling back?
No, it's all.
It's all pursuit and falling back.
Yeah.
Cool.
So the miners.
No. Good. And test to restrain on the Ironbreakers,
Yes.
and we'll get moved.
Which are going to be within the general's.
Yeah, definitely.
And so which they need. They do need it.
Right. And we'll get back with that movement. So our units are moved, and Phil's Ironbreakers are reformed, and there's nothing left to do in Dwarfs turn 2.
Is there any panic on anyone?
The dog's already running,
Yeah,
and
I think you'd.
I think I was further than 6.
Agreed.
I've actually moved
I agree.
11 to get there.
Yeah.
Oh, and you
Agreed.
moved 5, haven't you? So yeah, we'll get into Chaos turn 3. So Chaos turn 3. We've got the Gaze of the Gods on the Sorcerer, gets an apotheosis, so it goes up in weapon skill and leadership,
Oof.
which is excellent.
And that's a permanent thing for the rest of the game, isn't it?
Yes, it is. The 4 to 6 results are all for the rest of the game.
Mm.
So actually really, really useful because it's 3 attacks from that sorceress.
Yeah.
Into the actual command phase, or the later command phase, I'm going to do some spells. So I'm going to give, and Jebe's spell wears off on him actually. I'm going to give, that unit is dead.
Well, that's good.
Yes, because that was the unit that's just died.
Correct.
Oh, don't it?
Yeah.
Well, I might as well do some spells. I'll give my unit of Marauder Horse a Demonic Vigor.
Mm-hmm.
It goes off on a 10.
Well, I might as well attempt to dispel all of these.
Yes.
In a wizardly fashion. No, that's an 8.
So they've got +1 toughness, movement, and initiative. I'm going to use Gathering Darkness, which is a 12-inch range, leadership -2, and I'm going to use that on your Iron Breakers because I'm just in range now, so I might as well. It goes off on a 9.
Right, I'll definitely attempt to. I've got magic resistance minus.
Oh, it doesn't go off then.
Minus
Even
at
if it's
least
-1,
one.
it doesn't go off.
Yeah, I think does it go to 2 the runesmith? I can't remember. Anyway,
Next, we'll get on to rallying. I'll try and rally I'll rally Jedi, who does, because he's got leadership 9.
Mhm.
And he'll, I guess, stay there. The dogs run away and will run swift stride, or not swift striding, 5. So we'll end up, this is compulsory moves actually. So they stay there until after charges. Ugh, that's rubbish. The dogs at the back here keep running, and I'll just swift stride them because they're not coming back. So 12, and 12 gets them off the board, so we can forget about them for the rest of the game. So movement phase, we're into charges. I'm going to charge my skirmishing fast cav into the bolt thrower. I'm going to charge. What else do I want to take on right at this second? Not a great deal, actually. Let's give it a go. My Centaur are going to charge a Dwarf King, as well as my Knights. They're going to charge into that same Longbeard unit.
they will hold.
I thought they might. And that's actually all the charges that I can do this turn, because my dogs are going to be in the way during the compulsory move phase.
Yeah.
So the Centaur, along with the Chaos Knights, are going to go into the Dwarf King's unit. And with the dogs in the way, we can't actually find a point in the rule book where it says I can go through a fleeing unit. Only the unit fleeing can go through my Marauder Fast Cav. Alongside that, yeah, those are my only charges. Have you got any reactions? The Bolt Thrower and...
well, I mean, it's going to hold, and obviously my
No.
general's unit's going to hold.
No fleeing. Right, so let's get into it. My Fast Cav over here can't fail because they're within 8.
Yep.
My Centaur, well,
Clearly
get
do
in.
not fail.
The Knights clearly do not fail.
Yeah.
Also, during the command phase, I've got the Harpies fleeing. They run and can't go less than 2 inch
So they're
off the board.
off the board.
Remaining moves then. We get the compulsory, and they fled through a unit, so they take a panic. They love it, the Marauder Horse. In the actual movie bit, so the spawn is going to go, it's random move. The 5 and get to here. Cheers for coming, the Beastmen are going to get into the tower.
For their 300 VPs.
Yes, the best unit in my list. Everything's going right for them. And I'm actually a bit flabbergasted and flummoxed by what to do with the Marauder Cav unit. So my Sorcerer is going to get a bit closer just to be in the milling of everything. Not move over 7 though, so I can cast my Magic Missile. I'm going to Steed of Shadows my Marauder Horse unit actually. He's not yet moved, so I'll gain a fly of 12. 7 goes to an 11, which goes off.
So I will
Wizardly
attempt
Dispel.
to Wizardly Dispel.
I get it. So that gives me a 24-inch march. So because of fly, I can always march. And what that's allowed me to do is go like 12 inches with a wheel to here, and then carry on round, get 12, and pivot because I'm fast cav. So I can open order turn at the end of my move. Jebe's then going to run over and join this unit because he likes being in a unit. Yes. Then I think finally we'll get onto the shooting phase before the combats. I'm going to do my demonic summoning. I'm going to do the summoning on the miners. It goes off on a 13. I might as well attempt to Wizardly Dispel, right? Because just a double 6 will cancel me.
Yeah. Oops. Well,
No. So I'll get 2d6 strength 4s, 9. And luckily I think this is going to remove those annoying 3-man unit of miners, unless I roll lots of ones. At -2, I kill 5 of them.
yes.
So into combats. Let's start with the knights and the centaur, and then I'll cheer myself back up with the bolt thrower, because I don't think this centaur combat is going to go that well, but I needed to start trying something.
So you're not going to get an initiative bonus for charging.
No, because of your rune of slow
Which
confusion.
should really be the master rune of hesitation.
But it should be both. It should be both.
Maybe. I don't think you'd have to put that on the BSB.
Yes. Yeah.
And I am going to use hand weapon and shield.
Okay. So I am an initiative good with my knights. So Phil, what weapons are you using?
So the Longbeards are going to use their hand weapons and shields.
Yeah.
And the Lord is going to use his great weapon.
Right. And what that'll allow Phil to do is use the shield wall rule, I imagine,
Yes.
that you're thinking of,
That is what I'm thinking of.
as well as the stubborn to mean that they're going nowhere. So my knights and Toothhoof the Warhoof will go first. Toothhoof gets 4 attacks. He's got weapon skill 5.
Same.
Same. So he gets 2 hits. Strength 6 will get me 2 wounds, I imagine.
Yeah.
So that's 2 at -1.
So heavy armor and shield. So just
So 4s goes to 5s because of my AP.
Yeah.
So 1 dies. Next, we've got the Chaos Knights. They're just 4 with a champion, so that's 5 attacks. Hitting on weapon skill 5,
so 4s.
so 4s. I don't even know why I asked. They dwarf longbeards. I've got strength 6 with lance,
So
so that's 4 wounds at -2. So
6s. Yeah. None.
None. So that 5 is 5 of the 7 on the front rank, leaving the champion. Oh, I suppose just the champion.
Yeah,
and
just
your
the
king.
champion. Yeah.
And they will go simultaneous with my centaur.
Let me just check the initiative of the.
I'm the same initiative as the initiative 2s with my centaur, also being initiative 2 with no charge bonus. So we'll go simultaneous. I've got 9 centaur with a champion, so that results in 10 total attacks that will be hitting on 4s because I'm weapon skill 4, and I've got throwing spears, which allows me the second round.
Yeah.
So hitting on 4s, I get 5 total hits, statistical. Wounded on 4s, because I'm strength 4, that's 1 wound, not statistical.
And no AP, right?
No AP.
In the tray. There's another dead.
Excellent. So we just go into initiative 2 dwarfs, then great weapons, then my stomp attacks from my centaur.
Right, so I'm going to put all of the attacks I can initiative 2 into the
Centaur.
Centaur.
Right.
So I've got 2 from the Longbeard Champion,
Yeah. And I think that's the only left in the front rank, isn't it?
and then 3 from the Retainers.
Ah, right. Okay. Cool.
And these are all Weapon Skill 5, Strength 4, AP -1 for the Cromwell weapons.
So it'll be 3s followed by 4s, no armor.
So they
Oh,
all
5
hit, and then I get 4
3
wounds. 3 wounds.
Yes.
3 wounds.
Yeah. 3s by 4s. So 3 wounds. Then your king.
So he is going to. Well, he can only attack in base to base anyway, can't he?
Yeah. So that's the unit, or So Tooth Hoof is over here.
So actually, it's the unit.
Yes.
So Tooth Hoof is safe from
From
the
in
mighty
this round,
Warhammer of,
Yeah.
of Lord Thrain.
Suppose you
Right.
can pick out the champion if you want.
I'd rather just do the maximum
Okay,
number of
cool.
casualties. I suppose I've got 1 into the champion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll put 1 into the champion, which misses, and then 3. So 3 hits, and he's strength 6 with a great weapon.
Yes.
So 3 wounds.
3 dead.
Oh right, yeah, of course, -2.
Dead. 2. Taking off my musician. Yeah, I suppose I've got to take off the musician because there's an order. Next, I've then just got my champion and Tooth Hoof's stomp attacks. Tooth Hoof has strength 5, my champion has strength 4. So I've got 1 wound, AP nothing. Oh, it kills another. So, on to combat res. We've got, in the favour of the dwarfs, we've got 6 wounds.
Yep.
You've got a rank,
Yep. Close order.
banner, close order.
Yep.
Any more for any more?
No, that's it, I think. Because it's ranks at the end of combat, isn't it?
Yes.
Yep.
I've got how many kills? 7?
5, 6, 7, yep.
We've got 7 kills, which brings it down to 2 difference. I've got standard, and I've got close order as well.
Have you got a musician?
I've not,
I
because I
do.
just had to remove him. So I lose by 1. My knights are within my general's leadership range, so we'll have leadership 9 down to an 8 modified. So they love it and just give ground. My centaur can't use leadership,
of course.
so I'm just on Tooth Hoof's leadership. And it might be that.
He can't pursue you, right?
No, because you'll just hit my knights.
Yeah.
So Tooth Hoof is leadership 7, so they're running anyway. Now, I don't want to run far, and Phil will hit my knights because they've given ground. So I'm just going to roll 2d6 for my run of a 9, and then we'll get the units separated.
So you can move.
So Phil's going to test to restrain.
Passes.
And then you can, reform. In the combat against the War Machine, I've got 4 models in base, plus a champion. So they hit on 3s because the dwarves are now weapon skill 3. And not a single wound from my Marauder card.
So I get 3 attacks.
Oh, I've got my
sorry.
horseman.
You do.
Oh, my horse is. The horsemen are over there. I've got wounding on 5s. 1 wound, a mighty wound.
Dead. So I kill 1,
Cool.
and then I get 2 attacks back.
1
1
hit.
hit. Strength 3, so 4's right. Wounds.
6 up. Ah, 1 dies. Do you know what this means, Phil?
Does it mean I've won combat?
By 1.
Yeah, because of the hill.
Because of the hill. So, I'm going to be taking that break test. Is my general in range? Yes.
Yeah. Easily.
So, leadership 9. I give ground.
Right, well, I will not follow up.
Really? You sure?
Right, yeah.
You sure you don't want to remain in combat with me?
I'm quite sure that I don't want to remain in combat.
And we'll go into dwarves. Turn 3? Turn 4?
Possibly 4.
Whatever turn this is now. So, dwarves, command phase.
Just the test to rally the gyrocopter, which does rally.
Right.
So I guess I'll spin it around. Obviously I don't have any nasty magic stuff, so because we don't like that. So I'm going to start declaring charges, and I'm going to start with, well, there's only 1 charge that's going to be declared, which is this Longbeard unit into the knights.
The knight's going to flee.
Right.
because I quite like being very annoying with them. They're going to go 8 inches directly away. And then I think it still might be a possible charge.
It is, I think. Yeah.
Oh,
So having measured this now, because the maximum charge distance they've got is 9, so 9 inches to here actually won't, if the unit used straight forward, won't contact the knights.
Yeah. And as soon as you start wheeling, it will put them, although the alignment will be better, they'll have already used the movement. Yeah. So they'll go 2d6 and pick in the highest, not add the movement value.
So 4.
Yeah. Unless I suppose you want to start wheeling at that point. It's up to you to align, because you could just wheel. You still got to be aligned to the unit, but.
No, that's fine.
Cool. So 4 forwards.
What else do I have?
Remaining moves.
So the Ironbreakers don't really want to be charged
In the arse by Jedi.
so they're going to reform.
Are you sure?
I am sure about that. So they're going to reform.
This surprises me.
Then can I move the gyrocopter?
Yeah.
So it won't be able to shoot this turn. So I'm going to move the gyrocopter, which rallied now, and I'm going to line up Jebbe's unit for a.
For a sneaky
I've got
red
up to
weapon.
9. It's a skirmisher, so that's around about.
Oh,
here.
is it only a measly fly 9?
A measly fly 9, yeah. I mean, it's a helicopter, right? Not a fighter jet.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
So
Touche, dwarfs.
a sort of World War One style
Yeah.
helicopter plane.
Common in the Renaissance era.
Definitely. Well, Leonardo da Vinci designed a helicopter. Didn't build it, so.
No.
So-
into the shooting?
Yeah.
Is that?
So I've got the bolt thrower, and this can't fire this turn
Yes.
because
The flame
it's
cannon.
useless. Utterly useless.
Right.
Right. So, what are we gonna do?
So it's steam cannon first or bolt thrower first?
It kind of makes sense to fire this first because it's only really got one target. I mean, it could
Okay.
could have fired over there if it.
So the width at the end is 90 mil.
5, I think.
So the 8 gets over 5, and because the template is 60 mil wide at its widest point, and then immediately caves back in, it would be 5 partials.
Maths tells us these
Yes.
things. So
Fives.
just the one.
Yeah. At -1.
No, that's to hit them because they're partial.
Oh, 'cause it's partials.
So now it's a 5 to wound. Are they what toughness are they?
The toughness 4 because I've got that spell off.
So it does wound at -1.
6s. No. Bop. It can go either way. Actually, I don't.
That is,
I'll take it from that end because that's how we're supposed to. I just don't like. I prefer the models at this end.
right. The bolt thrower is can spin round and then shoot something.
Yeah.
Well, what are we going to
So there's
shoot?
not any flanks to get down, I don't think.
No.
But
Can I target your character? No, because it's within 3
within
of
3
them.
inches.
Yeah.
Of,
Let's just play
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Let's just
right,
play that
like-
because otherwise we'll
look up
Yeah,
everything
forever,
all the
yeah.
time.
So I'm going to fire it at the knights. I
Okay.
think. Well, I suppose he's short range.
R2 who's unit.
Yeah, but they're running away.
Oh, so are the knights, remember?
Oh, so they are. In which case, I guess I'll fire it at Jemmy's unit.
Okay.
So just 4s. Hits.
2s?
Yeah.
Oh, it does one.
Yeah.
You, but I like you more.
Is that a panic test for them?
It is 2 out of the 7 in the unit, so yeah.
Good.
Ah, and that is
That's the shooting phase.
so 7. Oh, sorry, not 7. He's not leadership 9. So they passed. And no combat, so it's into chaos turn.
So, into the cursed section of the recording. we've basically got a standoffish turn from the Chaos. Now this is because the positioning of Jebe's unit actually keeps the Iron Breakers from moving towards the castle. And with my Chaos Knights and Toothhoof the Warhoof's unit, that's a hard one to say, being just rallying, it means that the best they can do this turn is actually just block the Dwarf King's unit from also moving towards that castle. So that's going to be the game plan this turn in main. I start off by making some Gaze the Gods rolls because I've actually remembered them, as well as casting the -2 leadership spell on the flame cannon, which Phil fails to dispel with his runesmith. Next, I then start checking ranges because I want to make a charge into the flame cannon with my sorceress, and this is actually some this is some rallying test. So the dogs flee and run off. We get Toothhoof unit that also runs, which is a pain in the arse, and neither Toothhoof's unit or my Chaos Knights actually rallied, which was a big spanner in the works. However, my Knights unit only ran a couple of inches, so they weren't too far out of position for the preceding turns in this turn. Next we get my Sorceress that's going to be charging the Flame Cannon, and with the Swift Stride dice manages to get in. My random movement from the spawn turns out to be 10, so it's the first time this game where he gets a big move, and it's quite good for getting that Unbreakable unit into the way of the Dwarf Lord's unit. A really, really good unit for doing stuff like this, because with their actually relatively small base size and then one attack from each on the front row, there's not that many attacks going into it to kill it in one turn, except for that Dwarf King. We next go on to some javelins into the Ironbreakers. Not expecting much from these, and it doesn't do much, but then the combat with the Sorceress manages to wipe out the Flame Cannon and overrun to safety basically away from the Ironbreakers and the Gyrocopter. Next, the Marauder Horse unit into the Bolt Thrower manages to get 3 hits and 2 wounds, which kills the Dwarf crew. And then I overrun and actually don't manage to contact this Gyrocopter. We actually had to check it a few times because it was so close. And that's into Dwarf turn. Next, we go into Phil's turn, and basically my warriors are charged, or my marauders are charged by Phil's Ironbreakers unit, of which I flee. That actually takes me off the table. Now, why I did this is actually to pull Phil's unit further out of position for the loss, I thought, of only 100 points of unit. Next, Phil then moves his Longbeard unit into my spawn with his Dwarf King, and I thought, yeah, great, it's going to go well. He moves his Gyrocopter in the remaining moves phase into position to be able to flame the building to try and deny me that 350 victory points. Off the top of my head, it's whatever we said at the start of the game. This shift is just to show that my Marauder Horse are actually in skirmish because they've just been in combats all game, so it looked very ramped up. And Phil flames the building. In that, he'll hit every model in the building just because of the occupancy rules, but we'll need to take partials on whether or not he hits them, and that's on a 5. With that, he kills one of my beastmen, and we move over to combat with the spawn in a very fast turn. With that, he goes first with his Dwarf King and hits twice, and then with the Great Weapon, wounds twice. And I think he actually forgot he had Hatred Everything in this. Next, the rest of the Longbeards hits 4 times, and he'll then go on to wound, I think, all 4 times, which with the spawns, 3 wounds topples the spawn, and Phil gets to overrun, which he chooses to. He makes the overrun of 8, and that clips my Knights, which, because they're still running, just wipes them out. And basically, because he's hit a fresh enemy, manages to just reform, or because he's hit a running enemy, manages to reform, and he does so towards my Lord, so he doesn't get charged in the butt by a Chaos Lord. That then means it's into my turn, and we start casting some spells with my Sorceress, and we roll to regroup Toothhoof the Warhoof unit, who doesn't and runs off the table. That is very painful. Very painful. I really could have done with that unit. The dogs, not so much. Next, I'm going to be charging my Chaos Lord into Phil's Gyrocopter. And I considered actually charging my Marauders into the Gyrocopter as well to prevent the flee, but ended up not doing so that I could get more unit strength closer to the building. Phil flees with his Gyrocopter, rudely knocking over my Chaos Lord with his tape, and that actually leaves Beiji out on a limb. However, I had thought about this, and it was going to be quite a long charge to actually get those Longbeards into Beiji. So he would have had to roll that 5 on his 2d6, which I thought was worth the risk at this point versus surrendering the objective. My Sorcerer Lord moves onto the top of the hill to get line of sight to be able to do her magic missile onto the Gyrocopter, but I didn't need that result, so it's into Dwarfs turn 5, and this is where Phil actually declares a charge both on Beiji and my Sorcerer Lord with his Longbeards and Ironbreakers respectively, both of which flee, and this might be a bit of a weird choice, but I thought turn 5, the game's likely to go to turn 6, I can rally and then just move around the side of the unit and it just doesn't matter. Phil then fail charges with his Ironbreakers, however with the Chaos Lord, and he's already moved his Ironbreakers here, which is why you see the shuffle, because my flee should come first. His Ironbreakers could have then redirected his charge, which he does do, and hits my Chaos Lord. Now all I needed to do to avoid that was to have fled 1 more inch, and I believe I got 7 on the roll, so average on 2 dice, and I needed to flee slightly more than that with 3 dice, which I don't manage to do. The Gyrocopter rallies and just essentially stays where it is and flames back at the building, but the big hit this turn was the loss of that Chaos Lord, which really stunk. And basically at the end of the turn we then come into the turn dice and the game ends. And this brings us to the end of the cursed recording. If you've made it this far, well done, thank you for watching. The wrap up for this game though is a bit of a different one than I think you'll hear most of the time on this channel, or most, in that I got too concerned with the objective. I think too much was put into keeping Phil away from that central tower, and the actual amount of victory points that it was worth wasn't as high as I was valuing it. So actually what I should have been doing is playing the objective less and worrying about Phil's army more. Now what that could have mainly been done with is actually allowing a bit more breathing space, I think, rather than going straight in to the quarrelers and miners that were in the centre or the centre right of the tower. At least from my perspective, isolating the bits of the army more, which is what my army tends to want to do, and just picking off those weak links and then coalescing around the biggest 2 blocks in the final couple of turns of the game, which then may set me up for a much more successful end game, rather than being very aggressive at the start, which I think I was very strong in the start of the game, but that sort of petered out because I'd made all those strong matchups against those units. They set me back in the latter parts of the game. So I think the 2 learning points from there: don't play the objective as much as you saw in this game, as well as setting yourself up for the end game being probably the most important part of it, not being in such a rush in the early game. Now saying that, this was a really fun game to play. It demonstrated, I think, the strengths and weaknesses of both army in those big and not immovable, but those big blocks that you really have to try hard to be able to move about as dwarfs, and also the speed in which you can get, an aggressiveness that you can get into the Chaos Army. So hopefully you've enjoyed watching, and we'll see you again next time.